Writing songs comes easy to Jimmy Webb. He's been doing it most of his life, including those years he spent growing up in western Oklahoma. The son of a Baptist minister, Jimmy found fame and fortune in California with the success of songs like By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Up and Away, MacArthur Park, to name a few. But fame for Jimmy came at a very early age.
Well, I was 19 years old when Up and Away hit.
19. That's really young to handle all that. If you could do that portion of your life over again, would you do it different?
It's a good question. I think that we would all like to say that if we only knew what we know now, and if we could go back and do it again, then we'd do so many things differently. But then again, sometimes I think if you don't make certain mistakes, that you suffer, I think that you learn something from everything.
The Commission approved a little more than $400,000, a stopgap measure it was called, to prevent further deterioration of the Broadway extension from Britton Road to the Edmond city limits. Anyone driving the more than 40,000 vehicles that travel over that stretch each day knows what a mess it is. But transportation officials say the Broadway extension should be widened to 6 lanes once the Central Expressway is completed. But at least a Broadway extension is built. The North Bypass is only a series of dots on the map, except for a few miles of frontage road, part of existing Memorial Road. Those frontage roads will be extended 2 miles east with today's action, from Pennsylvania to Santa Fe. That frontage road and the actual highway will form a north outer loop across Oklahoma City. Someday. There was a definite reason for today's decision.
We received about $4.6 million worth of land donated from developers in the area. We also received some pretty good prices on some land that we bought. And part of our commitment was that if we accepted the donations, that we would then advance or accelerate construction of some frontage road segments which would be necessary to serve those particular sections of land.
Just because the Commission voted today to build 2 more miles of frontage road doesn't herald the construction of the North Bypass. After all, the project's been on the drawing board since 1964. Given the priorities and the current state of Oklahoma's economy, today's action is simply the construction of 2 more miles of frontage road. George Tomic, News 4 in northwest Oklahoma City.
Because of how quickly we acted, that it was not a dangerous situation. Had the children stayed in the room, I think that they could have gotten sick to their stomach, but the ONG man told me that it would take a long, long time to actually fill up this large an area.
The public hearing began with a slick presentation by the Barlowes Corporation. That company wants to build a $78 million horse racing complex in northeast Oklahoma City.
I believe that the Barlowes Corporation has the proven experience to operate and manage a first-class, safe, sanitary, profitable racetrack.
A bevy of politicians, corporate officers, and consultants spoke in favor of the proposed racetrack. The speakers assured the Racing Commission that Barlowes would bring first-class horse racing to Oklahoma.
We are not here as a broker or an intermediary to bring together banks and a syndication using other people's money to build this track. This is all being done with the Barlow family, money, assets, and credit.
Later during the public hearing, several speakers spoke against the proposal. Some of the opponents questioned the Racing Commission's decision to allow only one major track in the state. Others questioned the integrity of the proposed track's builders.
The Barlow will, by his past, continue to do what he has learned best in the alleys of Youngstown: how to rip you off.
The Horse Racing Commission is expected to decide within the next few weeks whether to allow the track to be built in northeast Oklahoma City. Scott Wallace, News 4 at the State Capitol Complex.
Well, okay. Problem is they have promises that aren't. If neither side tests, we'll have no more evolution of nuclear weapons. We'll have no continuing arms race. I would say that if the United States had and the Soviet Union had together stopped testing 10 years ago, then we would both be better off. And we would both have saved billions of dollars that we've spent on nuclear weapons.
You know what they're doing, girl?
Oklahoma has 7 coal-burning power plants. However, none of those plants uses Oklahoma coal. Some state lawmakers would like to change that. Oklahoma's coal mines are currently suffering through lean economic times. Thousands of coal miners are out of work. The coal which is taken out of the ground is shipped to other states like Kansas or Missouri for use. Oklahoma utilities buy most of their coal from Wyoming. The utilities have said in the past the Wyoming coal is cheaper and cleaner than the Sooner strain.
I can say without reservation that any unit designed for Wyoming coal can burn Oklahoma coal without difficulty.
Several coal experts urged a Senate subcommittee today to require local utilities to burn at least 10% Oklahoma coal. The experts claim such a requirement would create 3,000 new jobs for Oklahomans.
We have contributed greatly to the economy of Wyoming by using Wyoming coal, but we've done very little to help the economy of Oklahoma. We hope that through these hearings we can reverse that situation, that we can see a program commence immediately to use 10% Oklahoma coal, and that will ripen with time to the full potential of using all of Oklahoma coal for firing of all of Oklahoma's coal-generating electric plants.
The lawmakers said they believe local utilities will voluntarily buy Oklahoma coal. However, the lawmakers also said they would be willing to give a legislative nudge to any utility companies which refuse to cooperate with their plan. Scott Wallace, News 4 at the State Capitol.
I don't like the sleeves. I'd rather it be off the shoulder.
These Christmas time shoppers are looking for a bargain, but the price they pay might be higher than normal because someone else didn't pay for the merchandise they took.
It's a total of $146.30.
Bob Payne runs this formal ladies' wear store. In the past, he says shoplifters, both professional and amateur, have cost his business plenty.
You know, we knew who they were. we couldn't do anything about it because they'd wait until we had our backs turned. They'd busy us with something else. So we knew that we needed some kind of professional system to meet their experience.
This article's been tagged with one of our security tags, and if a shoplifter had this concealed on their body, if they went through the field here, the alarm goes off to indicate to the store owners that one of the tags has gone through the field.
Gary Haygood's company installed one of the latest in a field of security devices here. He claims to be able to save businessmen thousands of dollars.
Normally, people that see these monitors and the tags in the stores know that there's a greater chance of them being caught if they're going to commit shoplifting in a store like this. So they normally tend to go to some place where there's not a system in like that. It's just easier.
And with many more merchants now prosecuting shoplifters, the bottom line message, both now and year-round, is do like this couple did. Pay for your merchandise. Storm Smith, News 4.
Some call it the Madison Square Garden of the West.
Of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, Sean Davis.
But a handful of cowboys have hung another label on the Thomas and Mack Center. They're calling it the Too Small Arena. While Thomas and Mack can accommodate more rodeo fans than the Myriad Convention Center, the actual rodeo surface is significantly smaller. According to one Oklahoma contestant, the size of this auditorium could inhibit some performances.
Bull riders and stuff, it won't bother us none. If anything, it helps the bull riders. A little small arena. Timed eventers, yeah, they like it at Oklahoma City a little better, you know. It's a little small for them. It's going to make everything really quick, you know.
But quickness isn't the concern of Tommy Gene Combs of Chicota, Oklahoma. He's worried about the safety of the contestants and livestock. Tommy has raised steer-roping horses at his Chicota ranch for more years than he likes to admit. His animals have competed in more than a dozen national finals. But this one has him concerned.
You take a horse that's running 30 miles an hour, and he's got 140 foot, and you probably run him 100 foot, and he's got 40 foot to shut down. And it's hard on his legs, liable to cripple him. If you got a steer that runs real hard, liable to cripple a cowboy.
Most cowboys will tell you the Thomas and Mack Arena just doesn't stand up to the Myriad Convention Center. It's too small. But this year the name of the game is money. The cowboys want a big purse. According to one steer roper, this arena is just an inconvenience he'll have to learn to live with. In Las Vegas, Nevada, Kurt Autry, News 4.
Cinda Palet and Charlotte Kinsey were both 13 when they disappeared from the 1981 State Fair of Oklahoma. They were last seen helping a man load stuffed animals into a car. The search for the missing teens became a national story. Cinda and Charlotte's parents spent day and night at the State Fair of Oklahoma that year. They went to other fairs, too. The teens' disappearance became a national story. They made network TV and talk shows. Meantime, police ran down lead after lead. They arrested a carnival drifter called a prime suspect, but he was later released. Last April, an Oklahoma City police task force traveled to Miami, Florida, a haven for thousands of young runaways. Someone thought they sighted Charlotte Kinsey, but police turned up nothing. Authorities did zero in their investigation on a suspect, Royal Russell Long, who was serving time in Wyoming for kidnapping. Meantime, each year, the State Fair of Oklahoma is a painful reminder to the parents of Cinda Palet and Charlotte Kinsey. It also rekindles the frustrations well known to authorities about investigative work. The mystery surrounding the disappearance of Cinda Palet and Charlotte Kinsey began here at the State Fairgrounds a little more than 4 years ago, and authorities hope it will end with a trial of Royal Russell Long. George Tomic, News 4.
This vigil grows every year. Most of the people in this room have lost a family member to an alcohol-related traffic death. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers brings these people together to support each other and to further awareness for the public.
MAD and SAD, the student affiliation, if you will, of MAD, are helping people to come to grips with drunk driving in this country. It's something that we need to get around to. It's about time we've gotten around to it. It's a movement that started at the grassroots and has now swelled to national proportions.
April also broke, June the 10th.
Each candle in the room signifies a death over the last year, and the people holding the candles will tell you each one signifies hope that one day there will be no candles. Jason Amar lost a brother in August to an alcohol-related accident.
The man that killed him got a year in the county and a $1,000 fine. And he had crossed 3 lanes of traffic to run him over and never hit his brakes. And so, yeah, I was mad.
And Mothers Against Drunk Drivers says it will stay mad and keep holding vigils until laws are stiffened or drunk driving stops. Dan Slocum, News 4.
The Oklahoma City Street Department prepared for the assault on the expected weather with an army of men and machines. Their mission was to move a mountain of salt, sand, and fertilizer and spread it on city streets. Street Department workers went on special 12-hour work shifts to make sure they'd have enough reinforcements. Their strategy was to get a jump on the anticipated freezing moisture.
Hopefully we can get some chemicals applied to the surfaces as the traffic comes later tonight and in the morning. We'll reactivate that chemical. Thus, we hope we'll be far ahead.
The city spreading crews will find out if they won their battle against slick streets when they see how easy it is for the rest of us to get to work in the morning. Scott Wallace, News 4, Southwest Oklahoma City.
One, it does cost people money, and if we continue to have, high number of accidents, if people don't slow down and we continue to pile up, then yeah, the rates will go up. So it's in their best interest to slow down and take it easy.
The West Bypass corridor is one of the high-volume corridors in that particular part of the city or in the whole metropolitan area. So I think as we progress construction of the West Bypass, that we will hopefully solve some of the more pressing needs in the area.
Two prosecution witnesses identified Royal Russell Long as the bearded man who offered them jobs unloading stuffed animals at the state fair. The girls said they were 12 and 13 years old when Long made the offer in September of 1981. The teenagers testified they turned down the jobs. Prosecutors are trying to prove that two other 13-year-olds accepted Royal Long's offer and have never been seen or heard from since. Long's defense attorney accused the witnesses of identifying the accused killer only after seeing him on TV. In other action, the murder defendant won a legal battle today when District Judge Charles Owens refused to allow a key prosecution witness to testify. During a previous hearing, the witness told how a bearded man left the state fair with Charlotte Kinsey and Cinda Palet. The judge prevented the testimony because the witness had reportedly been hypnotized before he identified Royal Russell Long as that bearded man. Another witness who said he saw Long leave the fair with the missing girls is scheduled to testify tomorrow, and prosecutors say that witness may have been the last person to see the missing girls alive. Scott Wallace, News 4 at the Oklahoma County Courthouse.
By morning, the only hard-packed snow on the major thoroughfares in and out of Oklahoma City were on the exit ramps and bridges. For the most part, the highways were clear. The salt went quickly last night. The crews were spreading it on the major arteries just about as fast as it could be loaded on the trucks. The main objective was to clear the highways for the morning rush hour. In that regard, city crews succeeded. But it was this afternoon before many of the secondary roads were passable. Tonight, most of the streets are in good shape, but the road crews aren't ready to go home.
It was pretty bad last night and this morning, but things have been improving rapidly since about 9 o'clock this morning.
Any threat of the precipitation refreezing and causing icy streets this evening?
That's going to be a big problem because the information I'm getting is going to be really cold tonight. So, yes, there will be a lot of slick spots tonight.
The city plows will be getting a little help from Mother Nature. Even though the temperatures are expected to hover around the freezing mark for most of the weekend, the sun should be shining, and that will help keep ice off the streets. In northwest Oklahoma City, Kurt Autry, News 4.
Just got
Just got it.
The law says that it is incompetent, it's impertinent, it's improper. And that's the cases we gave the judge. It connects nothing to this case. It has nothing to do with this case. And the judge agreed with our position. It's just that simple.
They put two teenage girls on trial in the courtroom and let a convicted felon walk off free, apparently. That's all I have to say.
This application has a lot of money in it. Are we kowtowing down to that strength and that power and that money? I think it's significantly important that we tell this applicant right now who runs Oklahoma and who runs racing in Oklahoma. I don't want any applicant to come in here and tell us how we're going to do it. And I'm questioning whether or not they're doing just exactly that. I don't understand why you're not asking any questions. I don't understand why we're treating this applicant so differently than the way we've treated all the rest of them.
What does the plane do, Stevie?
Where'd it go?
Where'd it go?
Where'd it go?
You want to put that in your mouth?
That's it. Kick it. Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to come see me, huh?
It's that time of year when 5 meetings a day plus.
Series we did on you.
Oh yeah, the series. Oh yeah, sure. You know the difference in the. They were instructed to drive straight through for security reasons, and we received a teletype last night that they had made the trip safely. Mentioned in the teletype that there was a brief scuffle, and they would make a detailed report and explain the details when they got back. But the prisoners were transported back. They're back in the Wyoming penitentiary, and everything's well.
Feels good about the transplant. Now it's just, try to get her on the right levels of medication and just get things taken care of, to get her stronger.